Okay, hello and welcome to the next episode of Off the Bench with RGT. I've got three of my very close mates, Deep, Victor, and Aneesh on the show. Cheers, guys. Thank you for coming on the show. How do you guys feel?
Thanks for having us, Ronak. It's a pleasure and a privilege, and we are 7 glasses down already.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Victor, what do you have to say?
Cheers.
Okay, do you want to quickly introduce yourselves, Aneesh?
Hi, I'll start. My name is Aneesh. I'm a professional footballer.
We're here today to discuss Euro 2024, what we feel about certain teams and who our dark horses are. So stay tuned for everything. Let's start with Deep. Deep, as you can see, is a die-hard England fan. He's had a lot of heartbreak over the last few years, but I think he's slightly optimistic this time. As I say that, he has a sip of his alcohol. So take that with a pinch of salt. Anyway, so Deep, how do you rate England's chances in Euro 2024?
It's very difficult to say it's coming home because not very sure about the squad selection this time, to be honest. And especially after the final squad was selected, my apprehensions sort of increased. And also I'm very apprehensive because Rashford, Grealish are not playing, and Harry Maguire as well. And these have been the core sort of contingent in the past 5-6 years. So, having said that, Southgate's got a massive responsibility on his shoulders, and I feel like this is, the last throw of the dice, because I feel like it's going to be his last tournament if he doesn't, win it. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the squad selection in terms of defense? Because they are missing Maguire, who I think is a big miss considering his partnership with Stones, and I think Luke Shaw is not available for the first game as well. So who do you think will take Maguire's place, and how do you think that will work out?
This problem actually also does seep into the midfield and the forward line as well. But if I start from defense, because Maguire's not there through an injury, seeing what the last, sort of friendlies were with England, I feel like Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace is going to support John Stones. Having said that, I'm not really sure about him yet, and I'd rather him over Lewis Dunk and Joe Gomez and Konza as well. So again, against very fast-paced counter-attacking teams, I'm not very sure about England's chances. There's a mismatch also in the left-back spot, but I think Trippier will sort of take over because he's done a good job for England, especially in the past couple of tournaments. What I feel actually Southgate's biggest problem is where to play Phil Foden. Because I feel like, although Pep, he's had a phenomenal season with City, but Southgate never seems to know where to play him, and he always had his favourites, and Foden always seemed to sort of be on the bench. So I think this time, he'll be forced to play it because of the press and because of his own performances. So I think Foden will play from the left, if I'm not wrong. And also about the midfield, there might be a slight issue. I'm not sure whether my favourite Menu would play. And I think he'd be forced to take Trent Alexander, to the centre.
But don't you feel with Menu and Rice and Bellingham, that forms like a very good midfield pairing for England?
Absolutely. I really do. But I don't think Southgate is convinced yet. And I think the game against Iceland, was it that Menu got severely criticised? England squads tend to sort of go where the wind flows in terms of the press and the country's sentiments. But having said that, my personal preference would be Meno because, he looks like a solid player and he's a really mature player for an 18-year-old. But again, we've got a massive problem of surplus with Trent. And I think because of tournament experience, Southgate will prefer Trent over Meno. So, the jury's still out on that midfield because they haven't played yet as such, especially in the qualifying rounds and stuff. So, we'll have to see on the first match.
Fair point. Thanks, Deep. Victor, Aneesh, any comments on England's chances?
I have a comment on England's chances.
Aneesh looks...
I have a comment on England's chances. It comes from it's a research-driven comment. It's not really research, but based on an algo which worked. There's this guy, I was reading articles, and there's this guy who came up with this algorithm, and he's been predicting stuff for the past 20 years. and he's come very close on out of 4 of these Euros. Thrice he's got them right. So the algo works like this. So you take your highest goal scorer, take his number.
So that would be Harry Kane 9.
Yeah, and just multiply that by 2.
18.
That's 18. Take your goalkeeper's jersey number, add that to the 18. So that's usually 1. So that's 19. And then you subtract that by the age of the youngest player in your team.
Deep, who's the youngest player? Is it Kobe Mainu?
It's Kobe.
Yeah, and that's 19. So England's chances are a sum total of fucking 0. That's what I think. As Victor glares, England's chances are solid 0.
Wow. Yes, Victor, do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, my theory was saying that it's the same number as the number of titles Ronaldo's won at the Saudi League. So I think,
that's hard.
The research
That's
is concrete for sure.
England's got a very solid starting 11. They have Harry Kane, the highest scorer from the Bundesliga. They have the MVP of the La Liga. They have Bellingham. And they have like the top-notch players from the Premier League who are in their starting 11. But where it gets a little concerning is the rest of the squad. And so basically what I feel is that as we go into the tournament, or you have some players who are not performing to the level from the starting 11, and then you get your subs to fill in their roles, I feel the quality that they bring in to the starting 11 won't match what's going out.
You don't have the likes of Grealish, Rashford and Maddison coming off the bench, right, this time?
Yeah. On their day, they could be, they're like the best player on the squad.
Correct.
On their day, anything could happen. But in the end of the day, that's where you feel, these very inexperienced players can come, because you have the Euro is a big stage, and you want players like this to step up when it matters the most.
Kick, here comes Ede. Not got much help. Oh, he doesn't need any help.
Yes, Victor. How do you rate their chances?
Feel they will definitely not win.
England's done.
So I am an England supporter. That is my first team.
Yeah.
I'm taking on the role of France for this analysis because Deep is already there with England. But yeah, I don't. As much as I love them, I don't think they have the team which will win the Euros. Solely because I don't think Southgate has much of any tactics. He's choosing a squad based on form, which is great. But when he comes up against the likes of someone like Germany or France, I don't see Southgate tactically beating them. It's individual brilliance, and it will take us far. I feel as far as semi-finals, but yeah, after a point, I just don't think they have that chemistry and experience, like Aneesh said, off the bench. We have young players like Cole Palmer and Gordon who don't have tournament experience. So a big tournament experience and pressure situation stuff. So which like a team like France has in abundance. So they will go far, but it's not coming home for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, we can move on. Yes, Deep, do you have anything else to say about
Just
it?
before that, because we've abused Southgate for so long, just I feel like, he might not be very great tactically. I mean, he never was that astute that way. But what he was really good at for the last, couple of tournaments was the sense of, camaraderie within the squad. And I think in tournaments that matters. So, he's been very good at that, especially if you see the behind the scenes of the England camp and things like that, no? I mean, when we were growing up, the likes of Liverpool players would hate United players even in, England camp. But
Yes,
they're
Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Scholes never got
correct.
along.
They couldn't see it eye to eye. So, but that's changed now. So, So kudos to Southgate for that.
Fair point.
But I don't really think that's what Southgate's done. I mean, if you look at the games of United versus Liverpool in the past versus now, everyone's hugging each other. Everyone's like...
Which Roy Keane really hates.
At the end of the game, the staff smiling, hugging, the players chatting with each other. Just get down the tunnel and cut out. I don't get it. Everyone must be pals with each other.
Yeah, so Deep, your point is wrong. Please bring good insights over here. Otherwise, please go home. Just go home.
Okay, let's move on to the next team that we're going to discuss. It's Victor's second team. It's France. So, Victor, the first question to you is: do you think the French team are too dependent on Kylian Mbappe?
Who's that?
Even if they are, I don't see what's wrong in it. Like, you have a prolific striker like Kylian Mbappe on top. Might as well like use his full potential. He is made for tournaments like this. The guy has scored 5 goals in a World Cup final. He scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final. So he's going to come alive in such tournaments, and the team is going to provide everything to him, and he's going to finish. That's as simple as that. It's always been France's formula for the past 2 tournaments, and I think it's going to remain the same. Who I feel is far more crucial than Mbappe in that team would be Griezmann. I think he's the glue which is keeping the whole team together. And I believe they did lose one qualifying match, and I think that's the one he wasn't part of. Qualifying or a friendly, I'm not too sure, but it was a match where he wasn't involved. So it showed in spades how important he is. And yeah, I think overall, it's not, to answer your question, I don't think it's like a bad thing that we're too dependent on Mbappe. But having said that, we have like abundance of talent on top. Even if Mbappe is not performing, there is the likes of Dembele, Thuram, who can easily finish the game off.
And you're forgetting Giroud. He's France's highest goal scorer.
Like he can come on the 88th minute, 98th minute, extra time. You need those long balls, headers in. Giroud's your man, and he's proven time and again that he can be that person. So it's a proven team. It's a strong team, and yeah, definitely, I think they're going all the way.
Do you back them to reach the final?
Absolutely. I think not just reach the final, but win the final. There are other teams which are also capable of reaching the final, but because of their I think the team is brilliant. Like, the midfield's good, the defense is strong. I think defense is the one point where there can be a question mark because of the CB partnership. People are still unsure of who will start, but they got like for like players on the bench. Most Saliba is not going to start probably. That's how tough. Yeah, like, just imagine how good a defense where Saliba himself is not one of the best defenders in the Premier League last season is not going to start. You're gonna
not just that, if you think midfield, Kante might not start as well, which is crazy.
He's not there, but then see, he's there in the squad to bring in that experience. He's there in the squad so that in case in the 75th or 80th minute you have to bring someone on who knows what to do at that time. It's going to be N'Golo Kante. Who else would you want there? So I feel they've selected a very smart squad, which can switch gears whenever they want to and change their tactics as the game goes. And you have a leader like Mbappe on top who's going to provide the goals, which I feel is so difficult in tournaments like this. A lot of teams are playing with false nines. I think very few teams have an out-and-out striker, and even few out-and-out striker who are going to deliver. Harry Kane will deliver. We all know that. And so will Mbappe. So I think it's great we have him in the team.
Fair. Deep, Aneesh, any comments on France?
I think because the Madrid transfer was announced very soon after the Champions League of Mbappe going from PSG to Madrid. I think there's a weight lifted off his shoulders, I feel, and he's going to get a lot more freedom. Especially he's also been announced as the captain, so that free role that he's going to get, I think, actually makes him one of the forerunners of the Golden Boot. I think Lloris. So yeah, and the only problem I feel is, again, as Victor said, their defensive partnership. Konate, Kunde, Saliba, any one of them, any two of them, and their keeper is actually the main sort of point of concern, because I think Mike Maignan, he was injured for most of the season in AC Milan, and now he's just returned on time. So I mean, that probably is the only chink in their armor, and in an otherwise perfect team.
Aneesh, any comments on the French team?
I think they've covered pretty much everything. It's just that, it boils down to the fact that France, as a footballing nation, they just have too much international, like, tournament experience, like Victor said. World Cup finalists, World Cup winners. I mean, they've just been in the scene till the end in every tournament. I just think that, and well-rounded team, they have players for every position, subs for every position who can bring in that quality. And even if they don't have, their defense doesn't work out, they have Tchouaméni, who's been playing CB for Madrid as well, who can fill in. So I think they just have a lot of experience and just waiting to see what happens. By the way, Ronak, you didn't say the Euros start in exactly an hour. So
shit.
Yes.
yeah, looking forward to it.
Victor has
I feel
something else
they
to
are
add.
like the Real Madrid of
Big
national
tournaments.
Yeah.
Knows they're going to be there somewhere.
Yeah, they're gonna find out a way. They will find, and they have players. Even the young players are playing in the biggest league and winning in the final. Chouameni, you have Camavinga. These people are all bred in pressure, and I think they're gonna win it. Not just go all the way. They're gonna win it. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the most important and most interesting part of the discussion. It is to my Portuguese friend who's born in Portugal. As you can see, he's a die-hard Portugal fan. So, Aneesh, question to you is: do you think Portugal play differently with and without Ronaldo?
So, I mean, I don't know how to answer this because Portugal, they don't play without Ronaldo. Like, Ronaldo's played every game with them. There were, 10 games in qualification. He played 9 out of 10. And he doesn't come off unless he scores 2 goals. Otherwise, he's played till the 90th minute every game. I mean, he doesn't come off, so I can't really comment. But I think the only game where he didn't play, they played the same 4-3-3 and Ramos was in his position. But I feel that what he brings compared to Ramos is like far, far better in terms of quality. Those short runs, 10 out of 10 shots that he has, and his major aerial threat, I think that just puts him like leagues above, obviously. Yeah, I just feel that, and Portugal compared to England, what I feel that Portugal have is that they have every player in their substitutes and on the bench has the same quality as what whoever's coming off for them has. So if let's say, for example, a Silva comes off of Fernandes, I mean, both of them will probably start. If a Leao comes off, a Jota goes in. I mean, everyone has the same sort of quality, same experience.
And yeah, I mean, that match against Croatia last week when they played without Ronaldo, the players like Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes looked lost when they got the ball in around the box because they had Ramos starting that game, not Ronaldo. They didn't really know what to do because normally you have Bruno that is always looking out for Ronaldo. Bernardo Silva is always looking out for Ronaldo. So there's a little bit of confusion between the players.
I think what's happened is like all of these players, the forward position is not their natural position. So if you see how Felix plays, they always like the ball coming to their feet more. Their natural movement isn't making that darting run forward, which Ronaldo does. So Bruno knows, and Bruno, he likes playing that early ball, right? So as soon as he gets the ball, he looks up. He sees, even for United, he looks up, he gives that ball across, right? And when and with people like Felix, with people like Ramos, they don't do that immediately because that's not their natural position. So I feel that's where they're probably taking time. And I guess, this tournament is going to be Ronaldo playing striker anyway, scoring those goals, getting that golden boot. So, I don't care.
Great. Deep, Victor, any comments on Forza Portugal?
Do you think Aneesh looks like Matthias Nunes?
I think you're talking about Portugal. Yeah, I think that's their chance. I think they're going all the way to the final for sure. They have a brilliant team. They have a supremely talented midfielder in Bruno Fernandes, who's going to create as many chances as you want. And then you have a finisher like Cristiano Ronaldo. His one job is to score goals, and he will score them. You provide and he will score. And I think that's the combination you need in knockout tournaments, where you need that one person, you need that 1-2 goals, and you have Ronaldo to deliver that for you. A very bright prospect. I also like João Neves. Hopefully, Bruno is courting him to get him to United, but I don't think he will be able to afford him. But he's a brilliant player, he's a young guy. Dalo is playing exceptionally well also. Jota is back in the team. Rafael Leao is there as a forward. And he's turned in a brilliant season for Milan. So I think they have a squad which will click. They have a squad which has done well in the Euros in the past. And they have the potential to go and probably play France in the final, but France is going to beat them.
I think, it's one of the most exciting teams to watch in terms of a blend of the old and new. We're forgetting Pepe is also playing, and he's bloody 40 years old. The oldest player, if he plays. I'm sure he will. But also on top of that, I think the change in manager and to Roberto Martinez is going to help a lot, because in the sense that he's very tactically astute. With Belgium, although they didn't win any tournament, he managed to keep them number one for a couple of years as well in the last couple of years with that superstar squad. So his man management is good, and the way he manages ego. So I mean, the entire Portugal team actually revolves around Cristiano Ronaldo, right? So yeah, his ego. So that's going to be very critical, and I think Martinez has done a good job till now of doing that, and also they've had a stellar qualifier. So excited to watch that team lose.
I still feel that Martinez is a great coach who's kept, like Deep said, Belgium in the top spot for quite a few years, but he's yet to prove anything in knockout tournaments, especially with that Belgian squad. So there are question marks when it comes to him. But having said that, like Deep mentioned, Portugal is filled with leaders, people who can step up. We've seen Ronaldo do that in the final in 2016. You have Bruno Fernandes, you have Pepe in the back. You have leaders who can stand up in case someone backs out, and that I think is also important in a knockout tournament, where in the 85th minute when you need a goal against a side, these people are going to turn up and change the game. So I think that's really important. I think Portugal has that. And to answer the question, if what is the question? If Ronaldo, with or without, how do Portugal play?
Yeah.
I think Portugal's won a Euro final without Ronaldo. So yeah, I think that answers the question well also.
Just final comment. Nothing, no hate towards anyone.
No respect.
No respect either. But yeah, the added push is that it's probably his last tournament. Unless he loses, feels really bad, wants to play the World Cup, which I don't know, man. He's so fit. He can probably... Yeah, 41. He's 39 now. I mean, I don't know. He'd probably play it if he loses. But I think if he wins, he's going to definitely retire immediately. See, it's his last tournament. I feel everyone's going to back him. Everyone's going to play extra hard for him. He's going to play extra hard. If he's playing extra hard, the goals will come. So I just feel that added push with that, the quality that they have, gives them like definitely a top 4 spot in my list.
I think similar to what the Argentinian players did for Messi 2 years back.
Yeah, exactly what they did for Messi. Everyone, the nation was behind them. The players were behind him. Yep. What happened?
They did it for Messi. That's the difference.
Okay, we'll see what happens in 1 month's time. But let's move on to the next section. So I'm going to ask each of you who your 2 dark horses or surprise packages are for the tournament. So let's start with Deep. Deep, who are your 2 dark horses for the tournament and why?
My 2 dark horses. I think my first one would be Denmark.
Fair enough, yeah.
I feel like, they've got a good group wherein they can progress pretty easily. And also, a good defense wins you tournaments as well. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they can go on to the later stages for sure with a hardcore defense with Andreas Christensen, Anderson from Crystal Palace. In the midfield, they've got Christian Eriksen, they've got Højbjerg, and, they've got a great spine and Rasmus Højlund on top, right? And so I feel they're one of, and Kasper Schmeichel, in goal. And again, AC Milan's captain, Simon Kjaer. So, they've got a really good team, if you see. So, they are one dark horse of mine. And the other one, while I was thinking of Turkey, I was tempted to go for another team, which is Ukraine. I mean, yeah. Because, firstly, they've got an added impetus of, what's happening back in their country. So, they kind of are a unifying force. And also the players that are playing. I mean, Lunin's their goalkeeper, and he was, Madrid's shortstopper for the longest time before Courtois came in. And also up top, they've got Dobic, who was the La Liga Golden Boot winner for Girona, right? It's a very underrated team. And also, if you see their entire squad, your Yarmolenkos, Mikolenkos, they've all got experience in very good leagues all around Europe.
You're
And
forgetting
Zinchenko, of
Mudryk
course.
from Chelsea as well. I mean, he's
Correct.
Not
I mean, yeah.
He's not had a
He
great
can
season,
offer a burst of
but
pace.
yeah,
So, in tournaments, you never know, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, I think Ukraine are another team to watch.
Okay, Victor, what about you?
From whatever I've read and gathered and come across, Hungary.
Interesting.
They had a very, very good campaign in the qualifying round, and I think they overall have with Soboslai on top. Yeah, I think he's. So they do have a good squad, and they have proven that they are a good team which can stick out, who can defeat. I think they've beaten some strong teams also in the way.
Yeah.
I think Unite and I think they beat England, right? Did they beat England?
Can't
Who did
remember.
England lose to at home? 4-0?
No, it wasn't. Oh, it might have been Hungary. You're right.
It's Hungary, right?
Yes,
They
I
lost
think it's
4-0
Hungary.
to
Yeah.
Hungary at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Last summer they lost.
And
to-
they also they lost the home game. England lost the away game also to Hungary. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
But it was a smaller scoreline. But 4-0 they do. I think they will go far. Another team which I feel is tactically strong and has a good chance is Ralf Rangnick's Austria. Come on, this guy's turned down a Bayern Munich offer for this. So there has to be something
Absolutely.
going on behind the scenes. where he
Xhaka,
feels-
Sabitzer, all of them.
they got a brilliant. And Sabitzer's had one of the best seasons, I believe. He didn't click in Munich. He didn't click in United. I wouldn't say that's clicking, but and then he goes to Dortmund and he turns in a goal and assist performance in the semi-final and plays a good game. Almost scored in the final, and I think he's in a good form also. And I think these teams, they bond far better. And yeah, that's why probably they're dark horses. Another team, I don't know if we can call them dark horse, which comes to mind is Croatia, but I don't think
No
we can
dark
call
horse.
them a
No
dark horse
horse.
anymore.
They're probably favorites
But-
of some people.
Yeah, but they just, I don't know what happens to them. They just turn on another gear in tournaments, and yeah, they have an aging squad for sure. Perisic and Modric are, this was probably the last tournament, but man, I don't know. That's why, they aren't a dark horse, but then you're oh, they have an old squad, and then boom, they just from nowhere they're in the semi-finals.
Anish, what about you?
Croatia also have it tough because they're in the group of death with Italy and Spain. So,
But I still back Croatia to be up there, get through, probably be pole position. They just like France. They've also been there. Same players, obviously, as Victor said, aging, but still. I mean, Modric's aging, but bro, he's been giving masterclasses for Real Madrid.
And
this
Anish,
season.
the common thing also between France and Croatia, I feel, is they've had the same manager for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
That makes
Same
a big
manager.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Same team spirit, same manager. And, a lot of us haven't seen, because a lot of us don't watch La Liga, right? And we saw Modric just coming in for the last 10, 12 minutes. But he's actually been playing much longer games for Madrid through the league. He's been starting a lot of the games. So it's not that he's not fit and he can't put in a shift. He can. And you have Brozovic also along with him. Brozovic may have gone from Inter Milan to Al Nassr, but he's also. It's not that the Saudi league is easy. Remember, Saudi beat Argentina, your team, beat them, and they have really good players who aren't aging players. They're good players, top talent who have gone to Saudi this season. So he's been putting in his shift as well. You want to say something?
but do you have two dark horses?
No. I think what you covered. I think Hungary was a very good one, and also Austria. Both were yours. So Deep, I'm sorry.
Again.
Deep, you can get out.
Anish, since you have the mic, let me ask you, who do you think the biggest flop of Euro 2024 will be?
I think there's this team, right? There's this team that think they've won it all when they've barely won. There's this team, the commentators piss me off, the fans piss me off, the supporters piss me off. This team just needs to be put in their place every time they play a tournament. And that team is England. I just feel they need to just shut the fuck up, know your role, know your place, shut up.
As much as I love England,
No, I think they're going to... because this guy, I don't know, for some reason, after seeing the squad, seeing the players he's chosen, the little players with little or no experience, I feel that, they just don't have it to go the long run. I feel they'll probably do well groups, they may get through, they do well in the round of 16 maybe. Max round of 16, then after that they're going to lose.
Anish, even group stage will not be easy. Serbia is not an easy team either, and neither is Denmark.
Not an easy team, yeah.
Yes, what about you, Deep? Who would your biggest flop?
I think if you really think about it, because Italy won the last tournament, the last Euros, I feel like they are actually going to flop this time because they relied for many years, upon Chileni and Bonucci and, very stalwart players. And then all of a sudden, you find them not in the squad anymore. So their backline is sort of a bone of contention. And also, Virati was the sort of maestro, in midfield, and now he's not there as well. So lots of key players missing and injuries as well. Donnarumma seems to be the only sort of, pole position player, I feel. And up top, I'm not very sure with Scamacca, even though he had a decent, he won the Europa League with Atlanta. But not very sure about his international performance. So I think I'm going with Italy to be the flop of the season.
Fair. Victor, what about you?
I think it's Belgium. I think it's the sunset of the golden generation, and it's going to be a very brutal one. Like when the sun sets, I think this is the tournament where they need to press the reset button, which they probably will. And I think they're going to be the biggest flop. I'm really scared of Italy because I'm not, they don't have those names which are going to excite you, and that's where they hurt you the most, because Italy have always been like an underdog, even though they win. They have a good defense, they have a good tactic, they frustrate you, and they will somehow manage to squeeze through. And I'm a little scared of Italy. But otherwise, I feel Belgium is a team which will be the flop of this tournament.
Yes, Anish, you had a point.
Again, Deep was wrong.
No, so what I want to say is that coming to Belgium, I think what's happened in the last few big tournaments, major tournaments, is that they've had that extra added pressure, of being called the golden generation. They've had that pressure. That pressure is now gone because no one expects them to win, right? But they still have the same talent, and that talent is not talent that's gone away. That talents that still ripping it in the Premier League, doing well in Serie A or La Liga. So I feel that they still have talent, and now that there's no pressure, they may do well. Italy as well. I just feel like even if they don't score, they're a team, they're a nation that's born on tactics, born on defense. So I just feel that they will how Portugal won the Euros, bro. They just drew every game till they went to the finals or semis. That's when they scored their goals.
Also, Belgium have a couple of interesting players as well. I think Bakayoko apparently is a very, he's a young and upcoming player. And also Doku from Man City, yeah. He can tear it up on his day. So, again,
I think the only thing Doku lacks is once he gets into the box after doing all the trickery, he doesn't know what to do. He's so confused.
Yeah, I think he's a one-trick pony that way as well. Sometimes because he's pretty predictable, but that pace, once he sort of leaves you, then there's no catching up to him. So yeah, and Lukaku again, very difficult to say which way his season's going to go.
Yeah, but for Belgium, every team apart from United, he has scored goals.
Yeah, he is the highest scorer, right? At such a young age. Yeah.
Okay, Deep. So, who are your top 4 predictions for the Euros?
Fairly simple, actually. England number 1, of course, because loyalty. France as well, because very well-rounded team, especially surrounding Mbappe. I think I'd go for Portugal as well, because my friends are sort of poking me from behind to say Portugal. But and lastly, I think the host nations. People aren't giving Germany a fair chance.
We haven't spoken about them, but yeah, they have a fair chance.
They have a good team. More than anything else, I do like their coach a lot, Nagelsmann. So tactically very good, and he's got an up and coming squad. Again, at the back of a very successful season in the individual spaces like Kai Havertz, Florian Wirtz, and Musiala. And also Kroos's, swan song. So you never know what he might produce.
Yeah, and they've got that CDM from Leverkusen as well, Andrik, who's
Yes,
had a
correct,
great
Andrik.
season supposedly.
Yeah.
What about you, Victor?
I think same as Deep. I think France, because of the squad quality. Portugal, brilliant team. England, because they do have the caliber. Maybe they have a tough draw in round of 16 and it goes to penalties, but they will definitely reach. You have a player like Jude Bellingham in your squad. Even though he doesn't play where he would play for Madrid, I don't think Southgate employs him in that position. But you have a very talented guy like Cole Palmer is there. You have Menu. You have Foden on top, and Kane is there. I think they have a good squad. Defense is weak, not the best, but we have Arnold who's going to Trent is going to probably start from the midfield. So I think the team has enough talent, and like I said, they depend on that. They depend on form and talent, and they will definitely reach the semi-finals. And Germany for sure. I think host nations, they're going to have the support in every stadium they play in, and they have one of the most exciting forward trio, which I'm also very looking forward to, like very eagerly. Florian Wirtz, you have Musiala, and you have Kai Havertz, he's not your Harry Kane, he's not your Kylian Mbappe, but this guy will put the goal in like he did in the final of the Champions League, or like how he has played for Arsenal this past season. And I think I think Kroos is there, and they're going to go far. They're going to go to the semi-final for sure. So these four teams for me too. Yeah.
Perfect. Anish, what about you? Portugal number 1.
Portugal number 1 for sure. I think France to follow suit. I think Germany. I mean, like Victor and Deep said, I feel they have this. They have a team filled with champions, right? They have the Champions League winners in Kroos and Rudiger. They have the experience also of Gundogan. They have 3 invincibles from Leverkusen. And then they have some really frustrated and players from Munich and from Dortmund who haven't won anything this season. So they're really they want to win something. So that added push is there. Kroos's final matches. So I think by Germany definitely there. And I feel the fourth team will be Spain. And the reason I say this is because looking at the structure and how things may pan out, I feel that Croatia will meet one of the 3 teams earlier before the semis. So I feel Spain may get there to 4th place. And Spain have a very exciting young team. So hoping for the best.
Fair. Great. Okay, so just to wrap up, last question. Can you guys tell me that one young player who you feel will stand out this Euros and everyone will be talking about him at the end of the tournament and under 25, 26 years old?
I actually have 3 people in mind.
Even better, let's go.
And depends on how far their respective team goes. I think England and Cole Palmer. I think if he starts, that's why he is the first name I'm suggesting, because of course it all depends on if he starts or not. I think he has a potential to make a difference in this England squad, and he's getting backed up by a brilliant midfield. He's in that attacking position. He's going to score the goal, so he's going to create that final through ball. So if England does go far or all the way, I think he's going to be a deciding factor and a surprise for the tournament. He's already is a talking point, but that next level may just be this tournament for him. Second would be João Neves from Portugal. Really underrated, but he's definitely starting. He's starting all the matches, and I feel he's going to start.
I don't think he's
Over, you think he'll start over Palhinha?
Ruben Neves, João Neves.
I mean, you're Palhinha, I guess, at CDM for...
No, but he's been playing very regularly in the
been
past.
tested out.
Yeah.
But he didn't play a lot.
He played a full 90 in the last friendly game.
Going into the tournament,
Going into tournament, he's there, and a young guy. That's a young
Fair,
starter who
fair
again
choice.
that's why he's also not my it. I think if I had to put one person up there, I think it would be Florian Wirtz, because
Absolutely.
he's in an attacking trio. He's in that position where he can make a difference, score the goals. He has a false nine called Kai Havertz on top. So Germany are going to be very fluid that way. You got Musiala and him just behind him, and they both are going to have the license to go up and score the goals. Almost like how Bellingham had that license in for Madrid this season. I think that puts him in a very good spot to be the talking point. And if he replicates the season he had with Leverkusen, I think he's going to be the young player of the tournament.
Deep, what about you?
Again, if we have a couple of options, I was, thinking about Benjamin Sesko from Slovenia, 6'5" striker, 21 years old, and a lot of Premier League clubs, a lot of good clubs in the world were sort of gunning for him, but now I think he's signed a contract with Leipzig. Then I thought about Xavi Simons from Netherlands. I think Netherlands are not very talked about in this tournament, but I think he's a really promising player.
Even the French guy.
Correct. Which one? Fofana.
No. J se naam hai.
Oh, Emery.
Zen from
PSG. Correct.
Oh, okay, Zaire Emery. Yes.
But I think if I were to go for my number one young player to look out for, it would be Wirtz's partner Musiala. I think he has good tournament experience as well, and he's been in high pressure situations because year before last, when Bayern was sort of battling it out in the last day for the Bundesliga versus Dortmund, he scored a really crucial goal to take them through. Very silky player, and always inevitably turns up in Champions League in big matches, and I feel like he's got a lot to prove and he can do it. So I think Musiala is my player to watch out for.
Fair. Aneesh, what about you?
I have a few. Some probably mentioned already. I feel Menu. I mean, he's someone who has control, composure. He plays like he's experienced 30-year-old player who's been in the league for ages, right? But obviously, I don't feel he'll play that much. He may come on for a bit, but you never know with Southgate. He'll see something in training. He may play. You may end up seeing him, play 90 minutes every game. Okay. So I think Menu's
funny
there.
Story on that, when he wasn't picked for the squad in March and then he performed against Liverpool in that FA Cup game and then suddenly he got pulled into the squad.
Yeah. So I think Southgate, one thing he may do which he doesn't do tactically, he does identify young talent. I don't know now if Menu will perform or not, but he's proven it for United plenty of times. So looking forward to that. I think Spain's Yamal, he's done a really good job for Barcelona. He started 16 years old. He's started most games for Barcelona. Tricky guy. The difference that I see with Yamal and people that play nowadays in an attacking position in the wings is that he doesn't have that. He's not scared to take people on. You see a lot of people passing backwards. He doesn't do that. He reminds me of the attacking players who used to play 5-10 years ago. They take their players on, they create the chances. When you feel like nothing's happening, he's there. He'll just take someone on, he'll dribble past someone, make chances. So he creates those opportunities, and then his finishing is not really polished, but he does take a lot of shots. He does try passes. So I feel Yamal is there. Someone else I feel who'll also do well this time for Spain is Nico Williams. He had a great season. He won the Copa del Rey. So I feel he's there. Wirtz, obviously. Athletic Bilbao. I think Wirtz, he scored 15 goals, part of the squad. The winning mentality is now instilled in him. So I think he'll do a great job. I feel these are... and obviously, coming to France, Emery, he has had a great season with PSG. Did well in the Champions League as well. He's not someone who's going to score a lot of goals, so he may not get as much credit, or people may not talk much. But he's very good in the build-up play, good control, good pace, gets past people very easily. I think he's someone we should keep an eye on. He'll probably do well. That's my list.
And who's your top 4 and who's going to win?
I think my top 4 would be Portugal, France, Germany and England. I say that with a pinch of salt. But I back France and Germany to go all the way. France simply because they're the Real Madrid of the Champions League, right? They're the Australia of cricket. I mean, it's unreal. When it comes to these tournaments, they're something else. And Germany, just because they've gone through a lot over the last few years, but Nagelsmann has come in and kind of changed the whole way they play and the whole camaraderie, like we were talking about earlier. And that home support just plays such a vital role. You saw how England, because of that Wembley support, pushed through to the final last time as well. And I back Germany to go all the way. Maybe in the final hurdle they will lose to France.
And who is your young player?
Again, I would have three. None of y'all mentioned Jude Bellingham, but he would be my number one.
Bro, he's not young anymore, Ronak. He's young, but he's established MVP. Sorry, no.
Like he does qualify for the young player, huh? He's
does,
below
he does,
21,
he does.
so he does technically qualify. But we are talking about people who
Fair. Who's not
they'll talk
yet known to the media? Who's not a big name?
Not in the spotlight.
Okay, so Florian Wirtz for sure. I have not seen much of Yamal, but I've read a lot about him, so I'm very excited to see him. And I'm actually very excited to see Jeremy Frimpong from Netherlands. He's had a fascinating year for Bayer Leverkusen. From a right back, he now plays right attacking midfield, which says so much about him. And he's a great character. I've watched some of his interviews. He's just jolly, too much fun. He takes Nathan Tella's trip quite a bit, who's joined them from Burnley last
Why don't you go party with him? Let him not play the tournament then. No?
From a Dusseldorf point of view, but Xabi Alonso and his team doing exactly what they're supposed to do, bringing early.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, guys. It was a pleasure.
Is it time to drink again?
It's 11:57. What time does the game start?
12:20.
Who's doing the opening ceremony? Anyone knows?
No idea.
Kumar-san.
Abhijit and Kumar San.
Like, share and subscribe
To Off the Bench
With RGT!